psych video in the best possible timeline. Today's video is going to be a brief overview of an upcoming series about physiology, psychology, and how it relates to ASMR. My hope and dream is that by the time you're done watching this series, you have a much better idea of how ASMR works, why it's so calming, why it's so relaxing, as well as how your nervous system works, and why I'm so passionate about ASMR, and why I wish every video on the internet was a whisper video. So without further ado, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of this series, and I'm going to start by explaining the fact that I don't expect you to remember and learn every single thing that I am endeavoring to share in these videos, and ideally you would not put any pressure on your conscious mind to do any of that. Instead, I'm just hoping to plant seeds of information into your subconscious mind so that over time you can gradually learn and begin to grasp these concepts, which can be a little bit overwhelming. Now, a little bit of background about me. I have an undergraduate degree in psychology. I also have a graduate degree, but that's not in psychology. I probably should have kept studying psych because I have indeed kept studying psych. I love psychology. I'm particularly interested in positive psychology, humanistic psychology, and physiological psychology, and the intersects between each of those. So what did I just say? This is where it's giving brain retraining. It's giving I am the master of my fate. So the intersect between those ideas really focuses on the positive aspect of psychology, personal growth, personal development, and what that looks like on a physical level, because remember, all psychological components are actually physical components. You don't get psychology without the physiology to back it up. So that's a little bit of where I come from, my vantage point, and what I hope to share with you. So in this series, we're going to start by looking at neurons. We're going to talk about the parts of a neuron, and that's going to lead us into action potential, which is how a neuron is stimulated and how that electrical impulse of that stimulation can affect nearby neurons in a process called synaptic transmission. So that's going to be the first two videos in the series. After that, we're going to look at homeostasis, and which is like the baseline that you're genetically coded for, and so that your neurons are always trying to get back to. Now, when we take a substance, whether it's prescribed or not, it is affecting that synaptic transmission and pulling your homeostasis away from where it's genetically coded to be. In that process, other synaptic events are triggered, and in an attempt to get you back to homeostasis. So that's going to be the first group, is all about neurons, so that we understand the smaller components of the nervous system. So we're going to talk about neurons, neurotransmitters, we're going to talk about normal synaptic transmission, and then we're going to look at your brain on drugs, and your brain on withdrawal, and your brain on relapse. Just because those are things that are wildly interesting to me, and I feel like they're going to inform the greater conversation about nervous systems until we can finally have enough background insight to explore the concept of ASMR, how ASMR works. But before we can do that, I feel like we really have to understand our nervous systems. We're going to be looking at two aspects of the autonomic nervous system, the two that are usually focused on, which are the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. So we're going to be doing a deep dive into something called polyvagal theory, which is a theory, and it's not universally accepted, although I do find it to be incredibly useful, and many aspects of polyvagal theory are universally accepted. So we're going to be looking at the sympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, and we're even going to do a video in a day in the life of my nervous system, so that we can see sort of how these different aspects of the nervous system relate to one another, and how that relates to things like subjective experiences of mood, connection, but also objective, observable experiences of things like heart rate. Now we're going to be looking at all of that because there's not a lot of science on the subject of ASMR yet. But what we do know, what the science has shown us, is that people who listen to ASMR have a subjective experience of experiencing less negative emotion, less stress and sadness specifically, and also more positive emotion. They experience more calmness and excitement. Another thing that we know from studying ASMR is that people who listen to ASMR also experience a decrease in their heart rate. Now, all of these things are giving autonomic nervous system. So we're going to look at why and how the autonomic nervous system might get triggered in those directions of being more calm, less stressed, both subjectively and objectively. And in order to do that, we're going to explore polyvagal theory in a little bit of depth. So that is what the upcoming series is going to be all about. I could talk about this stuff all day, obviously, and I will, and I hope that you like it. If you have any thoughts, questions, compliments from my grandmother back here, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. I'm really excited about this series because I love ASMR, and I'm so passionate about it, and I feel like it's really not like intellectually understood even by the people who consume it. So I want to share what I think I know about all of this in hopes that other people can learn, and maybe we can just spread the goodness that is ASMR to people who are not currently listening to ASMR, or just inform the people who do love ASMR. Hey, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. This is why you like whispers. This is why this is so good, not for your mental and emotional health only, but also for your physical health, healing, and best possible timeline. So, without further ado, I bring you the first video in the series, which is the parts of a neuron and action potentials. Thank you so much, as always, for being here. Until next time, I love you so much. I bid you adieu.